What's up, guys? It's Mario here. I'm from Orlando, and I've been a Magic fan since the early McGrady days. I just want to say congrats on reaching episode 200. I've listened to you guys for over a year now. You guys are the first podcast I listen to Monday mornings to get me through the days, and I always enjoy your content. Keep up the good work as always, and believe in the prophecy that we will win a championship by 2030. Go Magic.
Hey guys, it's Steven here in Sarasota. I just wanted to congratulate you all on hitting 200 episodes. That's awesome. I've been listening for a while now. You guys have gotten me through these past couple off seasons and through the regular seasons with these episodes. And I just wanted to tell you all to keep it up. You guys are great people. Keep it up. Go Magic.
John, what's up? It's Jason. I just wanted to give your show a shout out. I listen to it all the time. You guys are the best.
Hey, Luke. Hey, Jonathan. This is Harrison. Just wanted to wish you all a happy 200 episodes. Looking forward to 200 more and appreciate love, support, etc., all that you do for Magic fans here and everywhere. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Six Man Show. As always, it is your one and only host, Drew Gooden, the founder of the podcast. I'm here to talk to you about some Orlando Magic basketball and my opinions on the team and how I think they're the best team in the NBA. But they're not allowed in the playoffs for some reason, but that's whatever. Maybe next year. Anyway, I got my two guests, Jonathan Osborne and Luke Sylvia. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys, because most
just
people...
so thankful that you had us back on the podcast, Drew. Like, really, really appreciate it so much.
I know you've been kind of begging to get back on.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Drew,
we are.
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to talk some basketball. Been watching the playoffs pretty much every night. Every year I forget you go into the playoffs and it's like a different sport. They just everything's so fast and physical.
They're so big and strong.
So big and strong
compared to what I'm used to.
Compared to Iggy Brasdeikis.
This is the Ignis Brasdeikis show, all right?
Yeah. I've been enjoying that and excited to talk about our team too. So
we are going to talk about our team.
I was going to say, so you're, very affectionately known as best friend of the podcast by Jonathan and I. Mm-hmm. And last time, you kind of gave us like a ladder of where you eventually would like to end up. So I would like to formally let you know, Drew, that you are now family member of the podcast.
Okay.
That was one of the things you mentioned. So I think that only a promotion is right. I didn't pass this with Jonathan, so hopefully that's all right.
Well,
then now Drew Gooden goes into family
he's the
member.
host of the podcast, so it's like it's his show.
I'm kind of
he did take a big
what
jump.
what he says goes.
Right. Yeah.
I'm glad you remembered because I don't even remember that you could have said anything and I would have been like, yeah, I guess if I said that, then it's true.
I said
how
that.
high does it go? Is family member the highest? Do you remember what's after?
No, it's
To
Daddy.
be honest.
Like Daddy is next.
Oh,
Daddy.
then
For
I'm
Luke, for Luke
Daddy
especially,
of
it's
the
like
okay.
it's Daddy
Yeah.
is like over everything.
Affectionate
like,
for
even
sure.
his own father, I don't think has reached Daddy status.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's
Jonathan
like-
was like, "Does your dad know that you've got all?" I'm like, "No, listen, it is what it is, man. People just earn the title,
It's not up
But
to Luke.
honestly,
it just happens.
Drew, when I was kind of like going through the last few episodes that we've done with you, because I think this is your third time on, maybe
pretty
fourth.
spaced out though. Either third or fourth. I think the first one was like 2 years ago, and
It was.
I don't even remember
in 2020.
what we talked about then in regards to the team. I guess that was before the bubble playoffs, so we were excited about that. Before or after, I don't remember.
Yeah. I think we've had you on twice by yourself, and the last time was with Oscar
That's
of the
right,
Magic
that's right.
Report.
Yeah.
Which was about 10 months ago, or maybe really 11. Really, it was last June. So, only reason I knew about, remembered the whole, hierarchy of your promotion was because I went back and listened and listened to that. So,
Well,
thank you.
I'm
for
excited
that.
to be a part of the family. Finally.
Well, this is a big episode because we do have Drew back for the third time, but this is actually our 200th episode. So it's been like 2 years and a few months, and not including like the shoot the shot episodes that we did last year that, it didn't really work, which is totally fine. We're not bitter or anything.
Threw it to the wall, it didn't stick.
Yeah,
it's
it didn't stick. Great name, though. It was a great name. Shout out to Manager Carmen. But,
Carmen,
200 episodes. Appreciate you guys so much, for sticking with us and for listening to the podcast and putting up with us and, just engaging in all of our stuff. It's really, really appreciated. Again, May 17th, Tuesday, we're going to be at Harry Buffalo downtown Orlando for the NBA Draft Lottery watch party. We are working on some big things for the Draft Lottery. We cannot confirm or deny anything at this time. But, just keep your eyes out and your ears open, I guess they would say. So, Drew, this was a pretty interesting season. The three of us kind of touch base multiple points throughout the season. And usually we were just like, man, this team really sucks.
Yeah.
How did you survive? How did you survive the season? What got you through the season?
For me, it was the hope of, I guess what was fun but also frustrating about the team was like you never knew when the random fun good game would come, because they did happen. There were a lot of games where it's like we beat the Jazz. Our RJ Hampton hit a big three at the end, and Mo Bamba had that game where he had like 30 points in the first half or something, and you never knew. Like, I went into every game being excited like an idiot, being like, oh, maybe tonight it'll be fun.
Tonight is the night.
And then, we're down 20 after like 10 minutes, and it's like, then we'll text each other like, why, can it be next year, please? Like, but I mean, some, obviously with the rookies and the young guys, there are a lot of good moments, but for the most part, it was hard to get through some of these games, and I really could not believe that I wasted so much time watching some of these games. But we're diehards. Got to do it.
It's true. It's true. Did you? And you could be honest here, because there was nights where I definitely wanted to not watch. Were there quite a few games where you just like, after that last game, man, I cannot sit down and watch a game right now.
Yeah, I definitely didn't watch every single game. There were a couple of games where I just had other stuff going on that night, and then I would check my phone later and be like, oh, that's right, the Magic played, and they lost by 35. Okay, didn't miss much there. There were really only a couple. I would at least start every game, and then you could kind of get a vibe of how it was going.
Oh, there was many, yeah.
I think early in the year, I was really watching every single one, no matter what. And then near the end, when it was like the last 10 to 20 games, especially the ones where Markelle wasn't playing, because he'd be off on one of the back-to-backs. Like, it's like, there's nothing to watch for. Guys are being sat down because, if an injury they would play through if the games mattered. And we're watching all these G Leaguers, and it's just like, got to be.
I was in front of the TV for all 82 games, but I think like 77 through 82, like those, like when, especially the last few, like Franz is not playing. It's like I would turn on the game and I would sit here and my eyes would be fixated in that direction. But it's almost like when you've been driving for like 45 minutes and you're like, wait a minute, how did I get here?
You have no memory of the last 4 minutes. It'd be kind of the game. So. Really fun season. I hope to never do it again. I hope it's all up from here, which statistically I don't think it could be worse. So, yeah,
it could always be worse. I mean, I think we have to be careful when we say that.
Right.
This is something that Luke and I haven't really touched on the show yet. Is there are, I'll say it's a small camp, but there is still a contingent of Magic fans who think this is not over. Like, even if we get a high pick this year, they think that we're going to do this again next year, one last time,
right? And
then it will be time to not be bad.
But you guys
anymore.
don't think so?
I would rather. There are so many things I would rather do than sit through a season like that, and like 20 of them include eating some type of large live insect. I would probably rather. I don't know if you guys went to Busch Gardens as kids, but there would be times where they would be outside with like the live hissing like Madagascar cockroaches, and if you ate one alive, you could get into the park for free that day.
What?
This is like a thing. It might have been a myth that just went around my middle school.
Drew,
as a
you
kid.
won't believe it. I've got a YouTube video for you.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
that was an official thing.
I think this was a thing
did.
As a kid.
It wasn't just some guy there. It was like, hey, you want to eat this roach? I'll buy you a ticket.
I don't know. I really don't know. But I would always hear that from kids in middle school. It could be a myth. It could be completely false. Luke is looking this up right now. But that's I would literally rather eat a hissing cockroach alive rather than watch another season like that.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
I guess I agree. I mean, it was tough. I guess it's.
But you think that's done? You think next season we're trying to be competitive?
I think they have to be. I mean, I guess it comes down to the organization and what they think. You have to assume that at least at the start of the year, they'd be giving it their all. Maybe it gets to a point where it's like, all right, we're way out of playoff contention. We should just kind of hang it up here. And at least at that point, maybe we got a half or more than half of the season being competitive and the injuries were too much or whatever it ends up being. It's always injuries. But I would hope you hit on the right guy. I do think we have a lot of good pieces. I'm not just being biased. It's like, it does feel like we're so close to at least being in like, you only have to be not the fourth worst team in your conference, right? To make the play-in or at least have a shot at the play-in. It's like, you got to have some kind of competitiveness. So I don't know.
Now, if we are healthy, though, I just don't think that we are going to be bad enough.
I agree.
To say, oh, you know what, we're just going to throw away the last 30 games of the season and do this again.
Because that happened a lot this year.
Yeah.
There was a lot of throwing away.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the good news is we know the indicators that John and Jeff use, specifically Jeff, when it comes to the upcoming season.
Hold on. So your search for the cockroach didn't yield any results?
Dude, it did. Google
anything?
told me I was stupid.
You know what? I'm going to go back to the kids that told me in middle school. Like, you made me look like an idiot on my podcast.
Well, maybe
made me look
Busch
like an idiot on
Gardens
Drew
paid
Gooden's
somebody.
podcast.
Drew Gooden's podcast. Yeah.
Maybe they paid Google to scrub the internet of any type of proof of that.
That does seem like one of those
you can pay
things
people to do that.
where it's like, Busch Gardens used to do what? I'm not going there anymore.
Exactly.
So they had to do a little scrub.
So my thing is, right, I mean, you've got to be, as far as that goes, Drew, like, I was definitely in the same boat as you in terms of, like, this has to be over.
Mm-hmm.
But then you start to look at the standings for this year, and you're like, do I think the Magic are better than Charlotte, who was the last team and, like, was the 10, like, essentially ended as the 10 spot?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they better than Charlotte? Are they better than Cleveland? Atlanta? Brooklyn was 7th, so they're definitely not. But like, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a lot that happens. I think. I'm hoping that the Magic can be the 10th spot. My hope is a play-in game, and that we're not. I just think that, like, at the end of the day, we're not going to be doing this again. I think that the Magic will try to, like, further develop a winning culture, and hopefully Jeff is not talking about just developing the young talent going into this year, and he's talking about we need to win basketball games. I don't know what the verbiage is going to use, but he's going to commit to something. He does every year, right? Like, when people ask about the team, he says it, like, what he thinks the team is capable of. So hopefully he doesn't talk about
development. Yeah. If
yeah,
we hear that, then
if I hear the development,
yeah.
I'm done. But not really. But I do think that it.
If she cheats on me this time, I'm done. Well, not really. Like,
yeah, you're not
I'm
actually done.
Yeah, I mean, I think. I mean, is there a chance we get Gary Harris back? Because I think if he comes back and J.I. comes
that's a
back,
championship.
I just mean, if we don't have, he was really solid and like our only veteran. So if the entire team is 21 years old, it's going to be a lot harder to, like, even if there's a lot of talent, like, you do kind of have at least one of those, like, 28-year-old guys who can be a veteran and good presence. I know Terrence Ross says he wants to leave. So. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, could we have the kind of jump that, like, Cleveland had this year, where you draft the right guy and it helps all these pieces that are already there elevate? You know, that's what we have to hope for. It's going to be hard if we go into the year and it's, like, obvious from night one that the organization doesn't care about winning. That's when it's like, come on, what are we doing here, guys? Like, it's gonna be really tough to watch, and I still will watch 75 out of 82 games.
Yeah. I think I mean your point stands, Drew, which is, like, this team has to be like a Cleveland in terms of, like you said, drafting the right guy, playing above expectations, not only beating teams you should beat, but also being competitive against the teams that are way better than you. I mean, Cleveland unfortunately took a pretty big fall near the end of the year, but I do think a large part of that was just the lack of experience.
Well, they were
right?
also pretty injured too, weren't Jared Allen and Mobley both pretty?
missed some
and that was
time.
kind of that was what elevated them.
Colin Sexton. I mean, they might have even been. I mean, Garland was great, but they might have had a chance to be even a little better with Sexton if they could kind of figure that out. But yeah, they had a lot of injuries.
So
as long as no one
together,
on the Magic gets injured, we'll be fine.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you've got. I mean, I think essentially that should be the goal, is play in for sure next year. Just realistic goal, right?
Yeah.
Like we can set these goals of like, I want to be the 6th seed, and it's like,
well, I would say like you should be going into March still arm's reach of the plan. Like the plan should still be a possibility heading into like the middle of March. To make a big
final playoff push like they did the year they made the playoffs and clinched in Boston. Because I mean, you look at it, there is even like between the 5 seed, the 6th seed, and the 7th seed, there's like a 4-game differential. So like 2 between each spot basically. So it's going to come down to the very end, I think, for the Magic. There's a lot of good teams. Like the East and the West have swapped in terms of the depth of the conferences. The East is just better than the West, which is crazy considering I felt like it was always going to be the West was better than the East. But it's officially swapped, man. And I think that it's just really the Magic have to draft well. And then my other question, my follow-up for you, Drew, is there a player? There's some rumors about Rudy Gobert saying like
I want to just jump in here real quick because I keep hearing that, but like I look at the West and I see the Suns with 64 wins, the Grizzlies with 56, the Warriors with 53, the Mavericks with 52. Like Miami won 53 games and won the conference.
I said deeper.
What?
Yeah,
okay, so
yeah,
you're telling me
you
you feel like the Bulls are better than the Nuggets. The 6th seed in the East is better than the 6th seed in the West.
Well, the Bulls were just like kind of fraudulent.
I don't know. I feel like it's more even. I don't think it's like the scale is tipped one way. I think it's more even than it's
right.
Been
but
in
terms of
time.
record, like Charlotte 43-39, and San Antonio 34-48. Like I mean that if you kind of go place by place, it used to not be like that. Like it used to be that the West had everybody was over 500. Everybody was it was looking better than everybody in the East.
I think there are some circumstances, like the Pelicans, if they have Zion, if the Clippers have Paul George and Kawhi the whole year, if the Lakers don't even trade for Russell Westbrook, like, I don't know.
There's always what ifs and like if the team is healthy, but like everybody went through that this year. So I just don't buy, like Brooklyn was the 7th seed for crying out loud. And I understand they got swept, so whatever. But the point still stands. I don't think that they were a 7th seed. I think
as lopsided as it used to be.
There is also
a
scenario where one of the teams you're penciling in the East, like Brooklyn, let's say KD gets hurt. Well, now they're going to be terrible. Like a team like that is relying a lot on 2 players basically, one of whom is already older, not the same athlete who used to be, and you're putting all that pressure on one guy. I mean, you can see a team like that have a bad year, and then
you just need a Lakers in the East.
Basically, yeah. I mean, going into this year, before the Westbrook trade, which I think most people were like, "Well, what are you doing? This is like the worst thing." You got rid of. We don't need to get into that, but yeah, I mean that could happen in the East to one of these teams that we're just assuming will make it, and that leaves a door open. But there is a pretty big gap between where we're at now and like even just winning 10 more games to be at the play-in, consideration. Like,
right. Yeah, I think it. I mean, obviously, we've said it before, and it's gonna be said 1,000 more times. You got to draft well, and you got to stay healthy. You got to have the same health luck that Steve Clifford had when the Magic made the playoffs for the first time in a million years. So, like, they had great injury luck that year in terms of like they had none. So, I think it's going to be very interesting. I wanted to say what I was saying to Drew before our friend Jonathan jumped in.
Before I rudely interrupted, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So there's stars, however you want to phrase it, Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, of seemingly on the trade block in Utah, like that they're willing to listen at least. But are there, not necessarily them, but the point being, who are you willing to part with in order to get a better player, or are you not willing to part with enough guys you think to get a star player right now?
Yeah, I kind of want to keep waiting and seeing who takes the next step on our team before we get rid of someone, and it might be like, whoops, we got rid of the wrong guy. He was about to ascend, because we're like trading, like, I don't know, someone like RJ. Maybe there's a chance he doesn't ever become like a solid NBA player, but who knows? He takes a big leap next year for another team because we traded him as part of this deal, and it's like, man, we should have kept him. Sort of like Wendell Carter leaving Chicago, and now it's kind of like, I think he's a better player than Vooch right now, and we got Franz and another pick. It's
hot take.
Yeah, well, I think going
it's not
forward,
that hot.
It's not that hot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think both teams won that trade, but I'm excited to have Wendell. But anyway, changing the subject. I don't know. I don't know if they're like Donovan. Is it Donovan Mitchell specifically? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think the players on the team I would be willing to give up for a trade like that wouldn't be enough to get it done.
Wouldn't yield a star.
Yeah, because I don't want to give up.
And that's
Franz,
where I think I'm at too.
Jalen or Markelle even, or Wendell. I wouldn't want to. It's like any of the guys that, you know.
Are you trading J.I.?
Is it just J.I. though? That's like...
Well, not for a star. I'm just saying in general, like at this point, are you right? You're going to have to give up more.
It just depends who it is. Like, would I give up J.I. for a Luka?
Right.
Yeah. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think... But I don't think I would be... J.I. is... Like, if I were playing 2K and I was setting up my trading block, I do think J.I. would be on that list. But it's going to depend on what you can get back. I just don't trust that he... I mean, I would love to see it, but... And who knows if he could have played this year if the games mattered. But I don't know. Like, I have better knees than he does. And, you know, I hurt my foot walking around New York for 3 days. And it's like, I'm the least athletic person in the world. But, yeah, I don't know. I would be pretty open to something. But I don't know how high these other NBA teams are rating Jonathan Isaac when everyone is
right. I was just gauging to see, like, is he untouchable for you? Like he might have been going into last season.
Going into last season, yeah, there are a lot of guys on the team I would view as more valuable than him. You know, maybe he comes back and makes me look like a fool and plays at an all NBA defensive level.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Well, he was on Instagram Live yesterday, and one of the first things that someone commented was "future Depoy," and he read it out loud. He said, "Future Depoy, that's facts." And I was like, "Oh, please God, please God."
Yeah.
But no, I think I love Jonathan Isaac. I'm the biggest Jonathan Isaac fan in the world, but I think you are being disingenuous if you can say, "Oh no, I have complete faith. He's going to be totally fine. I'm not worried at all." Like you just you can't say that, and
there's a fear of even if he's like the first 30 games he's playing great, and it's like it's always going to be in the back of your head, like, well. Yeah. Maybe he gets through the regular 100%. Season, and then it's just the worst possible timing going into the playoffs or the last stretch.
Right.
And it's like, kind of like with Anthony Davis, always great player, much better player than J.I. Obviously, he's one of the best players in the NBA, and it's like you never know. You just can't fully trust him to be there when it matters, and that's what you need to be healthy right now. There's a lot of guys who are great players who are getting hurt in the playoffs right now, and it's hurting their teams. It's like kind of ruining their seasons. Like
nothing like availability.
Yeah.
I think at this point you just you can't count on him to be there. Like you almost have to operate as if he won't be. Mm-hmm. You know, like you can't let him being on the roster stop you from trading for somebody or drafting someone else. Now, how much value does he have in terms of getting like a deal done? I don't know. I kind of feel like the Magic are at this point where they would have to give up so much to get someone that you'd just be like, you'd have that guy, and you'd be starting from square one. Like no Franz, no Jalen, probably no Wendell. Like if you're really trading for a guy like that, it's like, okay, we have Donovan Mitchell, and we have nothing else.
Right. Your only hope
to me, Donovan's not the guy that you can just be like, okay, we've got Giannis, we've got Luka, we've got one of these other guys, and now we can just build around him. I don't think Donovan's that guy.
Yeah.
No, and I think if you're the Magic and you are trading for a star this offseason, and I don't think it happens, but if it does, the only scenario I can see the Magic doing it is one, shipping off a ton of young talent that we'd probably be mad at them for doing, or two, the Magic get a star that's disgruntled and just wants out and basically says, like, you need to deal me or I'm not playing.
I specifically want to be in Orlando and don't trade for any of the young studs.
Yeah, I heard LeBron was like, I got to get closer to Disney World, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Robin Lopez about to hit the parks crazy. But
Well, I was going to trade Robin Lopez for him straight up, and the Lakers were like,
that's a cruel move.
No
to be
way,
honest
no way.
with
I'm
you,
not
but-
giving up Robin.
You're
No
right,
way.
yeah. Yeah, he's untouchable for me.
can't do it.
J.I.
No
we'll
way.
see,
But
Robin.
But I think that's the only other thing is that, like, they're disgruntled and you don't care where they go. Like, it's not like they're requesting to play for Orlando. You don't care, like, as an organization, you don't care where that star goes. You just know that they want to be out of there. We'll trade them for a bag of chips, and the Magic are like, yeah, we'll give you maybe a little more than asking, but I'm not giving you up everything. I think that's the only other way the Magic secure a star this season, but I still don't think it solves your problems. And you could, who knows? I'm definitely not on board with that plan.
Mm-hmm. Well, it almost sounds like from a purely logical standpoint, no emotions attached, that maybe the right move is to tank one more year. It's like...
now that we've really dissected the situation.
The only way forward... I mean, unless we hit an absolute home run, it's like, I don't know. The more chances to hit on that star in the draft. But I'm optimistic that if we get... one of the top 3 picks at least, and not fall down to 18 or whatever the lottery is going to do to us. I know that's impossible, but maybe they change
with
the rules.
With the 53rd pick.
Like what? With the 3rd round pick, it's like they don't even do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this offseason is the time to do it because we're giving up too much, and I don't know if I don't know who's available, and they're not going to solve our problems.
All right. Let me lay out 2 scenarios here for you guys. One is going to be like the most realistic or best case most realistic, and then the second will just be like everything goes right. So we get a top 3 pick. This is the first scenario. Get a top 3 pick. Everybody comes back healthy except J.I. Like J.I. we're not including him in this equation here. Jalen Suggs, who we haven't talked about, but just had ankle surgery. So hopefully he's healthy by the start of the season. It seems like he will be, but it sounds like he's missing out on valuable time to work on his game this summer, which is very unfortunate. Jalen Suggs, Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter, Gary Harris comes back. Mo Bamba's going to be your backup center, and then Moritz Wagner and some other guys, right? That team with your top 3 pick, whether that is Jabari, Paolo, Chet Holmgren, what do we think that team can do next year? Is that the team that we're talking about can be competitive for a play-in? Just give me a yes or no.
With J.I. coming back?
No J.I. No J.I.
Assume he's done the whole year, 3 seasons in a row?
We'll get to J.I. We will get to J.I. We will get to J.I.
Because I do think
no.
that factors in. I would say they're better, but I don't know.
Like 30, 35 games, somewhere in there?
They'll be on the cusp. I do think they could be on the cusp, but it would come down to injuries. What happens in the rest of the East?
Right.
But I mean, there were games this year where Markelle came back, and it's like, man, if they were just playing him the number of minutes that he could play and not taking him out at the end of the game, so we could blow a 10-point lead and lose on purpose, and it's like, hey, maybe we could be pretty good. Maybe someone like that actually makes everyone else around them better. But it would still be pretty homery and optimistic to be like, yeah, it's a playoff team for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So look, in that first scenario, then the goal would be next summer you have a lot of cap space. Okay. You either use that to sign somebody, or at that point, that's when you're starting to look around the league to see, okay, who can be moved. Now we've had 2 seasons of Jalen, of Franz. You've got Markelle Fultz. You've got Cole Anthony. You've got Wendell Carter Jr., Chuma Okeke, some of these other pieces. Maybe at that point you can make a deal for someone. And that's when this team should be taking the next step. Not next season, but probably 2 seasons from now. That's when this team should be taking the step to be like, we are a bona fide, you can pencil us in or Sharpie us in, whatever you want to say, for the playoffs. Okay? That's one way forward. The other way is just everything goes the way that we need it to. Top 3 pick, whoever you want. Jonathan Isaac comes back healthy. Franz takes the leap. Jalen looks a lot better. You've got Markelle Fultz. Wendell Carter Jr. looks like an all-star. That is the point where you can go to a free agent and say, look, we've got all these other guys in place. You are the next piece. We plug you in. This is a contender in the East. And all of that to say, it doesn't affect the cap space that you currently have right now. You're still going to have that cap space. You're still going to have some assets if you need to make a move for one of these guys. To me, that is our path to becoming contenders. Everything has to go right this year. Jonathan Isaac included. If that happens, this time next year, we're talking about, okay, what is the next move to make the Magic contenders?
Do you think all of those things you just listed together, Jonathan?
Don't ask me if it's going to happen.
Because
the biggest hurdle, and Drew has already said it, is you have to stay healthy. And to me, personally, that seems like the biggest hurdle in the world right now because it just does not happen for us.
All I want to know, Jonathan, and you can give me a yes or no as well. Does that team fully healthy win 43 games? They won 22 this year. Are they taking a 21-game jump?
If you're telling me Jonathan Isaac comes back and is 100% healthy, I'm having Markelle Fultz for 75-plus games and a top 3 pick in this draft with Franz Wagner taking the sophomore leap. They can.
They can. But will they? I think they can. And the reason I said obviously is because that's what Charlotte was, as the 10, like essentially the 10.
Then I think they can be as good as Charlotte was this year, fully healthy. Yes.
Charlotte went 43-39. Only reason I ask is because the Magic went 22-60. Like that is an astronomical jump. That is a 21 win difference.
All right, but how?
I understand it's different. I'm playing devil's advocate, but
I realize. Continue. But if this team was healthy this year, just with who we had,
correct.
Is this a 22-win team? It's not. We're closer to 30 than we are to 22.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because even the team that did play should have won more than 22 games. There were games where it's like, oh, we're not going to play anyone with 5 minutes to go. We're just going to, okay.
Yeah.
When you're purposely losing games and you still find a way to win 22, 30 is not that far for me.
Yeah. I would say 30 is attainable if like Markel's playing minutes fully ramped, and all that. And there's not injury problems and thus tanking results because the team is clearly not going to hit the plan. So
like we saw a little bit of health, and going from Frank Vogel to Steve Clifford took us from 25 wins to 42. That's 17 games.
Yeah.
And Steve Clifford was a great coach, but we all know that coaching matters in the NBA to a certain extent until it doesn't, right? Like, look at the Brooklyn Nets. Does coaching have anything to do with what happened with the Nets this year? Probably not. Like, Steve Nash deserve to get fired. That's probably a separate conversation. But I think, like, upgrading your roster and guys staying healthy is a bigger deal than changing your coach. I mean, your coach can make a massive impact, but I definitely think 17 games from Frank Vogel to Steve Clifford, you add a top 3 guy to this draft, everyone's healthy this season. If Jonathan Isaac is, and we all know it's an if Jonathan Isaac is 2019 Jonathan Isaac, this team can absolutely have an improvement similar to that. Maybe not 17 games, but 15. Why not? And if we're saying this is a 30-win team, healthy this year, then why can't they get to 43, 45 wins?
Yeah. It's a lot
of optimism in here right now. A lot of copium. a lot of copium happening.
Well,
Drew is just pondering.
Did you have a follow-up to that though? Because then the question is like,
those are my two scenarios. Like, I feel like that is what if we are going to become contenders, those are the only two paths that I'm currently seeing.
So let's go with the optimistic one. Let's say, everything goes right and they win 40 games, 40 and 42, just below 500. Like, then what's after that? Is it now we've proven we can bring a free agent in, but we have to hope that someone wants to come here? We just keep the same guys and hope to just keep making incremental improvement as they get older. I
don't think you're ever signing. I don't think you're signing a star to the Orlando Magic for 5 years. There's at least 5. Like, I think that you've got to be an attractive enough destination. And when you've got Miami just down the road there, I just don't think
What are you talking about? Their cap space is set for the next 50 years with Jimmy B.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying in terms of pure destination, it's like if I'm going to Florida, I'm not going to Orlando, basically, is what I'm saying. I don't see that shift happens for a little while. So I think that you essentially, if next year goes to plan and you make a play-in, you have to be willing to obviously exercise all of that cap space that you've gotten in the summer to try to just build and get good pieces, but also trade the young guys who did not emerge just to clear off your roster. Like, it's pretty messy right now in terms of who could be on the team long term. I have no clue because there's not really been enough separation. So
that's why I'd rather wait another year or two before making a big move, because you'll just know for sure who has a better, trajectory moving
who's got a better chance,
and who is just like, all right, I think it's been 5 years, Mo, you can move on. RJ still can't shoot a free throw. I don't know why. I don't know why. It drives me crazy that he can't hit free throws, but he shot pretty well from three. I don't understand it. Pisses me off. No, but there's always going to, and then, Jalen, maybe Jalen doesn't, he's got to just spend the next however many days until October shooting in the gym, and he's getting surgery, and who knows if he's shooting.
Kind of a problem.
It's kind of a problem. I hope he's not shooting 20% from three again next year. Or what is it? Did he even hit 20? Was it like 18?
It was 22, I think, like 21 or 22, somewhere around there.
Over 20. All right.
Yeah, I mean, let's give him a little bit.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was 18.
Oh, 21.4.
There you go.
So we're there.
Yeah. Not ideal. But let's also remember,
what kind of
the
improvement do you think he could make in year two?
To me, it doesn't make sense that he was just not able to start knocking down shots consistently, because the form is fine. Mm-hmm. His free throw percentage is fine. I really don't know. And it seemed like most of them were on target. They were just either short or long. I feel like he's having difficulty getting accustomed to that range. But
I feel like
if I could tell you that, I'd probably be employed by an NBA team.
Sure. I think with him, why I'm optimistic is because there were games where he'd be 3 of 6 or whatever, and he'd take good shots. And then there were games where he would chuck up so many threes just trying to get one to go down, and now he's 0 of 8, and it's that just the percentage keeps going down. Yeah. He could just have those games where he's a little bit more consistent, or if he doesn't have it that night, not keep forcing it. And I think playing with Markelle should help too. I don't have the statistics to back this up, but I did feel from watching the games that he was taking bad threes a lot, and if he's just getting a catch and shoot open three from someone like Markelle sitting, I assume he would be hitting those more often.
I believe we dug into this, Luke, and I think somehow he was shooting worse.
Well, then I take it
opportunities. Yeah, I just, to me, it just doesn't make sense, because he wasn't a great 3-point shooter at Gonzaga, but he also wasn't terrible. And there's also statistics that show he was better shooting off of the dribble at Gonzaga versus catch and shoot opportunities. So there's definitely something to that, but I just can't envision another season where he shoots 21% from the 3-point line.
I know, it seems
at that
impossible.
point you just stop shooting them.
Yeah, that's that's really, really bad.
So the funny thing is that obviously Jalen didn't get to actually share the court with Markelle Fultz, but if you go to statsmuse.com and type in Jalen Suggs with Markelle Fultz, it just pulls up the games that they played in the same game together. It's not necessarily sharing the court, but Jalen shot 4 for 25 from 3 in that span. No correlation really, but 16% from 3 is what that comes out to.
Okay.
So
just a little bit, but
just a little. Yeah. But yeah, no, I am interested though, Drew. I think there is merit to it. I think if he is able to recover from that injury, which they say, won't be a huge deal, but if he can recover from that and get back to, or not even get back, but, tune up his catch and shoot threes. I mean, that's it is what it is, man. All you need is your shooting coach to just pass you the ball. Get the ball boy. Yeah. Pass you the ball and just shoot the ball. I don't know, man. It is weird.
And if he can focus too on the turnovers and just being a better facilitator, that should come. I mean, there were times where he was just going a million miles an hour, and it's just slow down, get control. He's a great athlete, but he's doing too much sometimes. That should get better, because that's just maturity, that's experience. Shooting a little bit better and making those other improvements, he can be a good player. I don't know how high the ceiling is at this, but
yeah. Also, no correlation, but in those 6 games with Markelle Fultz, you talk about his assist to turnover ratio, which was the thing I griped about the most this year. he was averaging 5 assists and 2 turnovers. So I'll take that ratio.
Not bad.
I don't know what it was with
Better.
Markelle being present, but maybe he's just better when Markelle's active. I have no idea.
Well, he's like, oh, if I want minutes, this guy's back.
I gotta
start
facilitate
playing a
like
little
this
better.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew, before we wrap up here, let's talk a little bit of Franz. We haven't talked about Franz at all on this pod so far. We know that you love Franz, but what did you see out of Franz this year, and what do you think his ceiling might be able to be?
I feel like from the moment he was drafted, a lot of fans and analysts kind of put a ceiling on him as just this like, oh, he'll be pretty good, but not great. But he then was great at so many things. And he is athletic and he's tall and lengthy. Like those aren't things you can grow into at this point or teach. Like that's just who he is. I don't know if there's a ceiling. I don't think he's hit his ceiling. I think he's got, every time you would think you've seen it all from him, he'd pull out another move. The fact that he was hitting so many step backs, and obviously his Euro step was so good and so good around the rim and a good defender. It's like just so exciting to watch him play. There were nights where, I mean, your eyes would just be on him the whole time. So I don't know. I think it's Kevin O'Connor who talks about the little brother thing with a lot of prospects where, you know, he is obviously a better player and better prospect than Mo, but Mo is older. So perhaps growing up, you know, he was smaller, less athletic, had to learn all these other things, had to develop a bag in order to, you know, hold his own against his taller and bigger brother. And he gets to the NBA and like all those years of like learning those things has paid off, where Mo is like great energy guy, you know, will get streaky from three, but not good at a lot of things, where Franz is like, I do think the sky's the limit, and I just love him. He's great.
Yeah, it's got to be like really crappy to be like, yeah, you know, I made the NBA. Like I'm just kind of trying to hold my own and make a living, and really I'm just trying to survive. I haven't really found my niche in the NBA yet. And here comes my little brother, and like he's just incredible and like way better than I'll ever be in my entire life. No shade to Mo Wagner, of course. Like we love Mo Wagner, but like it's got to be quite the predicament to be at Thanksgiving and be like, screw this kid, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
like
mean?
me and my brother, it's great experience. We get to play together, but he starts. I don't.
He plays.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. He
They
gets
give
a
that
lot of
guy the
minutes.
basketball. Like what?
He plays every night.
that
Can you
about?
believe it?
Yeah. Literally almost every night.
Everything should have been every night. Almost made it, but
Almost.
What kind of crap, and we haven't really talked about this because, I mean, it's not a big deal, but how ironic is it that the guy that takes Franz out for the rest of the year is Scotty Barnes? It wasn't dirty. It wasn't intentional. It was entirely coincidental. But Franz steps on Scotty Barnes' foot and out for the rest of the
darn
year.
foot.
How great is that?
That foot will get you.
I don't know. Toronto's my second favorite team, so no,
Yeah.
frustrating. You know, it's just add it to the list, the long list of problems that arised from this season.
We just got to stay healthy. I just keep telling myself, we got to stay healthy. And it's like, you finally get a breath. It's like the off season. Nothing can go wrong. And then a couple of days ago, oh, yeah, Jalen Suggs has surgery. And I look up, you know, stress fractures in the ankle. And they're like, usually you have to have some kind of screw or pin or plate, you know, placed into the foot. And I'm like, all right, he just has a metal foot now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Should be interesting. Moving forward here, guys. We've pretty much dissected the future of the Magic and the pathways, so that's good. Hopefully it just kind of is able to pan out that way.
Drew Gooden, any final thoughts?
No.
No.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Who do you guys like to win the finals this year out of everyone left?
I thought it was Golden State, but I think the Gary Payton injury is like a real thing, especially with their matchup with the Grizzlies.
And
I would still
Klay-
say the Warriors.
Okay, Clay
'Cause,
just
like,
doesn't look good right now. I think that's
He doesn't, and the Warriors shot 18% from three last night in Game 2 against the Grizzlies, and I can't see Steph and Klay going out like that. At some point, I feel like they've got to get it going. They really haven't in this series so far. I'm still gonna pick the Warriors.
Okay. What about out of the East? Sorry, before.
Yeah, you're good.
Out of the East,
Yeah. Do you think it even matters? Do you think it's just
I really have no idea. No, I think it does matter to me, it's either the Celtics or obviously they're playing in a freaking series right now. Whoever wins the series between the Bucks and the Celtics is going to go to the finals.
Like
I think it'll be the Celtics.
Those are definitely the two best teams.
I think without Middleton, it's just like at some point they're going to figure out. I mean, look at last night. They just kind of pulled the old Stan Van Gundy on LeBron. Let's let Giannis go crazy, and let's see if that's going to be enough to beat us. And last night it wasn't. So I like the
and
Celtics
Tatum
and
and Brown
Warriors.
actually played well and combined for like 59 as opposed to like
That
2
helps.
points.
That helps.
Which they did the night before.
Your all-stars playing well.
That
goes a long way.
That's good. Go figure. I'm gonna say Celtics come out of the East and Suns out of the West. I think the Suns win it all.
Yeah. I can't disagree with either of those. My favorite team to watch though is Memphis. I think I've watched every single one of their games. I really loved the surprisingly good series they had with Minnesota. That was every night was like must see television. It was just so fun. And now, them against Golden State going back and forth. I'm pretty sure Ja Morant invented basketball. He's just so insane to watch. I also do. It's wishful thinking because it's all predicated on hitting on a guy like Ja. But Memphis is sort of a blueprint for where we could go from here. You just hit on that one guy, and we do have a lot of those other, we have guys who could do what Desmond Bain and what Triple J are doing. It's like, you just need that one guy.
Triple J, man, he needs to figure out the foul trouble because that man
he's got Mo Bamba
when he's not in foul. Yeah, when he is not in foul trouble, he is dangerous. But like last night against Golden State, I mean, thankfully they won. Jaren Jackson fouls out 3 of 14 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. Like when he's in foul trouble, I think there's like a psyche type effect to it where he just like can't shoot because he's just so focused on not fouling out.
Yeah,
he does it so much where he gets in foul trouble. I think he could be incredible, and I hope that like literally foul trouble isn't the reason that it keeps him from it. But no, I agree. The Grizzlies have been a lot of fun. People could say like Ja's corny or like whatever, but Ja is incredible.
I love watching him. He's so fun.
He is. Yep. Had what 47 last
47.
night.
Yeah.
47, 8 and 8, and he had 47 on like 15 of 31 shooting.
No, he's disgusting.
It's crazy.
And he hits big shots in the fourth, like so many fourth quarters in the playoffs so far. There was the game that I think sealed it against Minnesota where he had that big dunk. They were down 10 at that point. And it's like, okay, well, they're going to win, though. They're going to win after that earth-shattering dunk. And they did. They won easily. He had like 20 points in the fourth. So good.
I do like Drew's point that like that is kind of the blueprint. Like, yeah, you got to draft Ja, which is the biggest part of everything.
I think the rest of our team could be better than
the
rest of Memphis, though. And then you just need to hit on a guy like that. Doesn't need to be quite at that level, but...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you need Ja. You need a Ja, and we'll wrap up here soon. But you need a Ja who's like just he's like 21, 20. He's 22, I think. He's 22. He's chirping with Steph after the game, during the game, like telling him after the game last night. He said like this is gonna be fun, or we're gonna have some fun in this series, or something like that. But like he's that young. He's willing to take the big shot. Like he is fearless.
He's what we call a guy.
A guy,
like you need a guy like that is just like, and it comes back. We've had this conversation. Like you need a top 12 player in the league to win a championship, and like to me, this season and what he's done so far in the postseason, he is like entering his hat into that conversation as one of the best players in the league.
Could Franz be that guy? Do you think? Not that. Type
I don't
of player,
think he can be. I don't think he can be Ja, but like I loved what you said because I would take Franz over anyone on Memphis not named Ja. Like if we're talking about like career, I would take Franz over anyone not named Ja.
You're taking projections into this.
Yeah.
Of course,
yeah. Like now is Desmond Bain maybe better right now? Maybe. Is Triple J maybe better than Franz right now? Maybe. But if you're giving me the next 10 years with these guys, I'm taking Franz over anyone not named Ja.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see Orlando in a playoff series. I want to see these guys play. I think Wendell would be so good with this style of play. I can just picture him just getting a tough rebound and dunking and just going crazy and being like, I am stronger than you, I'm better than you. And then seeing, there's always the random dudes in these games that go off and like Twitter's like talking
Mo
about
Wagner.
or like Chuma.
The Mo Wagner
I would love to
game.
see Chuma have one of those games where he just hits 6 threes and everyone's like, who's this guy? And it's like, you know, we knew about him. You know, because he does have those games when he's not shooting 1 of 9 from 3. But the games he's hitting, those are great. But yeah, I want to see that so bad. Just be competitive in a series and show that we're taking a step. That's all I'm asking for.
We're more than Disney. Show them we're more than Disney, you know?
Yeah,
Luke,
please.
you shared an awesome clip today from Clay when he was asked about like the Golden State fans, and he's like, the real fans were the ones that were here before we were winning. You know, these fans now, you know, they're
the new ones demanding greatness.
Yeah.
Are like from us now, or like they don't, basically telling like they don't deserve to do that.
Yeah,
they
like
weren't
you don't
here.
deserve to rep the Warriors.
I sent that clip, Drew, to our 6-man like group chat, and I was like, this is gonna be me when the Mavericks start winning
14
championships.
years.
No, 8 years. 8 years till 2030.
Alex Martin's told us 2030.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so
Now,
so
I can't lie. When the bandwagon starts filling up, I will be there with open arms.
Yeah.
I'm just like, in the arms of an angel. Like, you know, come aboard. But there will be a VIP section for the people that I know have been down, like, since day one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you were a devoted Magic fan through this season, I think you have a lifetime pass. If you watched as many games as we did this year, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I agree. Well, Drew Gooden, thank you again for joining us. Do you want to tell folks, everybody knows who you are, but do you want to tell folks where they can find you, they can find all your work?
Yeah, I make YouTube videos on youtube.com/ I don't actually know what it's / just search my name on YouTube if you're interested. Find me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter if you want to see me occasionally reply to tweets about basketball during the season, because that's about the most I do. But yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. A lot of fun.
Perfect. Drew Gooden, thank you so much.
It's Drew Gooden 1, by the way.
Drew Gooden 1.
There it is.
That's right. That's
Drew
right.
Gooden 1.
Yeah, youtube.com/ Drew Gooden 1. Drew is Gooden on Twitter and everywhere else. So, yeah. Cool.
The best Drew Gooden, might I add. Way better than the other Drew Gooden.
Mm-hmm. He may have played in the NBA, but I
played in the NFL.
That's right.
That's right.
You did do that.
Yeah, at least I tried. So I tried to play in the NFL.
Perfect. Well, Drew Gooden, thank you, man. Welcome back anytime.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
All right, that was best friend / family member Drew Gooden. Always great to have Drew on the show. Always a lot of fun. Luke, this was our 200th episode. It's kind of crazy to think about that. You've been on the show now for like the majority. I think you came on somewhere around like episode 50 or somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was well before 100 because I was thinking about it recently, I think today. But yeah, no, I think it was around episode 50. So I've been around approximately for 150 episodes, which is crazy. And then 200 total.
How many days is 200 hours? Because like our episodes, I feel like probably average close to an hour. And plus we've done like the shoot the shot episodes, so those have kind of got to be up there. I'm just wondering how much time we have spent in front of this.
Almost 8.5 days.
8.5 days. It feels like it should be more than that. Like I've done this 200 plus times now, and it feels like more than 8 days of my life. I've got to be honest.
But this is like accounting for the time that like, you were sleeping. Like it's a lot of time that we're just like, if we were to record for 8 days straight, like that's a long time.
Yeah, that is a long time. I don't think I could do anything for 8 days straight.
No, of course not.
I was in a coma.
I think it's close to like the Call of Duty time that I probably spent. For the first year of playing Call of Duty 4.
Dude,
I had to have been, but I probably was more days than that, to be honest.
Hundreds of days into World of Warcraft. Hundreds of days. Like probably more than 200 days.
How many years was that?
I've been playing World of Warcraft since I was 13 years old. I haven't played like super hardcore in probably like 5 or 6 years. But when the Legion expansion came out, I would say the first 72 hours, I spent 60 of those playing World of Warcraft. Was literally sleeping like 3 or 4 hours a night and just getting right back to it.
The early days of World of Warcraft were like ones where I would play a little bit. But
no.
To this day.
You play World of Warcraft?
like not like I don't know anything anymore. Like I
mean,
played
you can
very
say that
briefly.
about a lot of things, but
Right, well, true, but I won't. But what I'll say is that the gameplay of World of Warcraft, for whatever reason, it was like one of the first computer games that I saw and played. I will never just like clicking around and like to where you want your people to go, whatever, like that type of thing. It was so satisfying, and I do remember that about World of Warcraft because it's really funny. Like I did not play it that much to remember it as much as I do in terms of like what it looked like. And I just remember like
it's iconic.
Very much enjoying that.
Whether you like
it's a
it or
nostalgic
not,
feeling, whether you really indulge in it or not. It's very nostalgic.
It's iconic. Anyways, we didn't. This is not a World of Warcraft podcast, unfortunately. But yeah, 200 episodes. It's just, first of all, like I would be remiss if I did not thank my wife. I don't want to get all mushy on here, but like my wife, your wife, Kevin's wife, like the show would literally not be possible with everybody that like helps out, and like it takes a village to raise a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But
That's
like
true.
seriously,
Allows us to record twice a week.
Yeah. Watch
Yeah,
the kids, make sure the house
crazy.
is quiet. Literally, we plan our entire lives around the podcast. Like, oh, sorry, I can't do that Wednesday night. Oh, sorry, Grandma, I can't be at your 90th birthday on Sunday. I got a podcast to record. Or sorry, I can't do that. I got a Magic game to watch. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
So, without getting too emotional, just thank you to my lovely, wonderful wife Carmen, who like all of this would not be possible without.
Manager, shout out
Manager Carmen. Mother of my children now. All the babies that I have and whatnot. It's a crazy thing to watch a person give birth. By the way, we're not going to get into that. But
You're not wrong.
just seriously. And thank you to everybody that listens to the show, because show would be pointless. Like, so many awesome doors have been opened to us because of the podcast, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys. We are literally just like regular dudes that just like to talk about this team, and it's just like led to some of the craziest experiences of my entire life. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, forever thankful and super grateful to everybody that's been, if you listen to one podcast, even if you're a Raptors fan that comes to our YouTube channel talking crap, thank you guys so much. Seriously, you guys are amazing. And we would be remiss if we did not shout out those that financially support the show, our patrons. You can find us at patreon.com/the6manshow if you would like to help financially support the show. We do have a brand new patron, Blake Bickerstaff. I don't know if he's related to JB Bickerstaff, but
Jury's out. We'll ask
the
him.
jury is out. Oh my goodness. The Jerry. Blake Bickerstaff, thank you so much for your support and for supporting the show. If you want a shout out just like that, we shout out all of our brand new patrons. They get a special shout out just like that. And then we shout out all of our patrons, and I'm going to try to do this again in one breath. Shout out Court Cousins, Drew Gooden, Armin, Keith Garcia, Zico, Carson Tulo, Nathan Lynn, Ellis, Jonathan Borges, Norm L, Magic Player History, Julio Bailey, Matt Lyman, Eric Segovia, Gabe Gaines, Wiffle, Michael Martin, Jamel Miller, Michael Salapong, Franz Goaded for show, Ryan Singh, Blake Bickerstaff. Thank you guys so much. Again, thank you guys for 200 episodes. Thank you to Luke. Thank you to Kevin, Ryan, Ben, Tim, the whole 6-man team. Really appreciate you guys. Love you guys so much. For Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You have been listening to the 200th episode of The 6-Man Show. We will catch you guys next time. See ya. Thanks for listening to The 6-Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. Please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It would really help us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 6-Man Show, and like us on Facebook. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic.